I've owned the Apple Vision Pro for a little over 48 hours, and in this video, I'm going to give you my first impressions. I'm going to break this down into pros, cons, who is it for, and most importantly, who is it not for? Is it worth the money? My overall feelings of the comfort level of the Apple Vision Pro. So let's jump right in.
This intro intentionally left blank.
Okay, so first I want to talk about some of the pros and the things that I like about the device. So right off the bat, I would say once you put it on and you are in any of the immersive environments, and if you don't know too much about it, basically the way it works is this: you put it on, you click the button on the top of the Apple Vision Pro, and then the home screen opens up and it looks a lot like, your iPhone home screen or anything like that, or the Apple Watch home screen. And then you can choose to either be looking through the cameras that are built into it, which means you're looking at what's around you in the real world, or you can turn the little dial and then you have things like, Joshua Tree, all these different environments. It's like deserts and mountains and high up on a mountain in Hawaii, things like that. And then that turns into a 360 environment that you are in. And when I say that it feels like you are there, you definitely feel like you're there. Even the sound, the headset and the sound, how it kind of does this spatial 360 audio. You don't just look up and look at these like amazing places, but you also hear them. So that immediately, I think, will blow away most people. I had my wife put it on. She could care less about the device, but she was blown away by it. At this point, I'd say she's probably used it as much as I have. And, I'd say that's a huge pro of the device. And the reason I say that is because you watch a movie, for example, and you have the Disney Plus app and, the Apple TV app. You watch a movie and you have cinema mode, for example, and you feel like you're watching a movie in the movie theater. Suddenly your environment changes. You're sitting there, and what's cool, there's also options to select where in the theater you sit, in the front, in the middle, in the back, on a balcony, and your point of view and perspective changes. You can look around. It's an empty theater. That's one thing that's a little weird about it, but the screen and the environment feels just like you're there. So that immersive environment and the potential it may have, some of it may seem a little gimmicky at first, but I think in the right hands with the right apps, already I'll say this: it's completely changed the way we will consume media, the way we will consume movies, the way we will consume TV shows, anything like that. Just in the 2 days that I've been using it, I put it on and I watch a movie or I watch a show or whatever, and then I take it off and I look at my 55-inch TV. That's a nice TV, and that suddenly looks really old, really antiquated, and it looks very old-fashioned. It's very similar to like when iPhones came out and suddenly someone handed you a flip phone and it just felt old. I think I'm already seeing that happening based on the experience of wearing this and watching movies and watching shows and just consuming media. So that's one pro. Now I'm going to go into the con related to that. And what I will say, it's a temporary con, and that's basically the quality of the media. So when I went to the App Store, I actually did 2 demos. I did the first demo. I walked away feeling kind of like, whatever. I was kind of disappointed. And so then I went back and did a second demo, and I changed a few things about the demo. And then, that's where it felt like a completely different device, and it convinced me to buy the device. But the reason that the first demo, I walked away from it feeling kind of like not that impressed. It's like simultaneously impressed, but simultaneously disappointed. It's because of the quality of the media. You hear about these 3D immersive environments with dinosaurs and a woman on a high wire and a high line, and even though they look amazing, in the depth and the realism is amazing of you being there and feeling like you can reach out and touch these people or these dinosaurs or whatever, it's still in a place where the quality of the cameras needs to get better. So for example, some of these 3D immersive videos, like for example, there's one you may have heard of, an Alicia Keys video, where you're literally sitting in a studio and she's performing several of her songs, and the experience is amazing because it's like, holy, like I'm in this studio, there's a dude over there on his laptop, and then there's a girl over there on flipping through her phone, and then you have the musicians playing, and Alicia Keys singing, and she's chatting it up with people, and you're just like, whoa, like they look like they're right there. But, you know, you view this, but the quality is low. So it's not like pristine and crisp and sharp, like a 4K TV, or even something you might see on your computer monitor where like it's so crisp and sharp and you can see like the pores in people's faces and anything like that. It's a little soft. It almost has a sort of hologrammy kind of look to it, like combined with video. And so it looks good, but it doesn't look as good as I thought it would look. And even though the depth and the spatial like thing about, you know, the whole experience of looking anywhere and seeing everything in the room, that was mind-blowing. The quality of the video was not mind-blowing. It was just like okay to good, and that kind of took away from it. But it's only a matter of time before the video catches up. I found that in the Disney Plus app, the Apple TV app, the movies look great. They look amazing. But if you go to the web browser, which is right now the only way to see things on Netflix or Hulu, you go to Safari or whatever, watch a movie there, you know, it looks low res. It looks very low res. It just doesn't look good. It's that simple. It's almost like if you're watching something on your computer and you change the quality to like 720 or something like that and view it on a giant screen. It's just fuzzy, it's pixelated, just does not look good, which that's probably why they haven't released an app. They're working on the quality. And I think that's a big part of the media, that because the goggles seem to be so high res and the things are so big when you view them, you know, you're no longer viewing something on your phone or on an iPad or even a 50-inch TV. You are now viewing things on a giant movie theater screen, and the quality of media has to improve so it looks good, you know, inside the headset of the Apple Vision Pro. Another thing too, for example, is the pass-through video. That may just be a hardware and processing power of the Vision Pro at this point, but you've probably heard this on other videos too. The pass-through video, which is what you're looking at in your room that you're actually in, like the real world, so to speak, that just looks horrible. It just looks like crap. It looks like 720 video. It's noisy, it's pixelated. I've stepped outside. I still feel kind of stupid wearing this thing and like going outside with it, obviously. But I've gone like out in my balcony and things like that, and I've looked around, and even in bright daylight, it looks better, but it still just looks like you're looking at an old camcorder from the 90s or something. So those are two very simple pros and cons that are kind of related. So now I'm going to move on to the next one here, which is a big question. Who is this device for and who is it not for? So right now, I would say my answer to who is this device for, it is for nerdy, techie, early adopters, people who consume a lot of movies, because right now it's in a weird, usual Apple product state, like the Apple Watch when it first came out, where they released this thing. It does a lot of cool things, but you can't really peg what it's for or who's it for or how do you use it, that kind of thing. And then eventually, just like the Apple Watch gets its identity, so to speak, it's, you know, the Apple Watch is now for, you know, health and exercising and, you know, that sort of thing. It is generally for everyone, but let's be honest, most people use it to check the time in their text messages, but it is mainly for health purposes and working out, and that's where its strengths are. And so I think this device is still finding its way, but where I think it's leaps and bounds ahead of anything else ever is in entertainment, consuming media, watching movies. They say people don't go to the movies anymore. Honestly, after buying this, they don't really have to. There's the whole social aspect, which is a whole other conversation, obviously. You don't want 50 people with these stupid things on their heads. But, you know, just generally speaking, this gives you the experience of watching a movie, you know, and just in a little bit that I've owned it, you know, I can see this, you know, if it progresses in the right direction and there's a lot of great software updates and people actually buy them, I can see this being, you know, how most people consume their media. You know, the one thing right now that's missing is the fact that I put it on, I can watch a movie, but other people around me aren't in that environment, aren't watching it with me. So it's isolating in that aspect of it. But when it's to a place through software updates where I can have one on here, I can maybe my brother or a friend halfway across the country, and then someone else can have it somewhere else. We're all wearing them. It's kind of like FaceTiming, you know, where yeah, you're not in the space together, but we all probably agree that FaceTiming is a lot better than a phone call, and it's a lot better than text messaging. And sometimes when you FaceTime with someone, you get that kind of experience of kind of hanging out with someone in real life. And I kind of feel like this device at some point, hopefully sooner than later, will be in a place where people will wear them in different places, watch a movie together, and then in that movie theater environment that I was telling you, I'll look over to my right and I'll see, you know, a friend here and I'll see someone else here. It'll probably have that weird, dumb, you know, avatar face that looks horrible, but it'll be funny. It's whatever. And so now, who is this not for? And my answer might change as I use it more, but people who want to buy it and know what it's for and are not early adopters and do not understand beta versions of technology and do not understand first versions of technology where things aren't going to work perfectly. And that's who it's not for. If you're buying it and want to put it on and be told exactly what it's for and exactly how to use it, and you know, and be expecting all these apps in the App Store that are amazing, and you're just like, you know what to do with it, you might be disappointed because it is version 1.0. I would even say it's closer to a beta version. So I'd say if you're expecting all of that, you'll probably buy it, put it on. You will be blown away by a lot of things. You will be blown away by the movie watching experience, the immersive environments, the 3D immersive stuff that I mentioned that were low quality, like the dinosaurs, all that stuff. But after you watch that, it'll be like, now what? And then you'll just be checking your email on a big screen and, you know, typing out notes on a big screen and have a giant Safari on a big screen. You know, like for example, for that productivity stuff, if you're also going to be mainly a productivity person, right now, you know, it doesn't seem like it's for you because, you know, yesterday I spent all day, you know, I had my mail app open, I had my notes open, a web browser open, and I was working. But at some point it occurred to me like, this is cool. It's cool that I'm sitting here in Joshua Tree and it's very relaxing and I hear the birds tweeting and, you know, my Safari window is like 50 feet tall. It's cool. But the experience wasn't necessarily better than if I was just sitting, you know, on my MacBook Pro. It was just a cooler experience. But I wouldn't say it made me more efficient, more productive. It didn't make my work, that whatever I was doing, better. It was just a different cool experience. I don't know if that's an answer really, but I'd say that's who it's not for. People who do not know what being an early adopter is and people who don't know what to expect out of a beta product or a version 1.0 product. It might not be for you. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about the comfort because I'm sure you've heard a lot about it being comfortable, uncomfortable, and here's my experience. So I would say for me, the first day and a half or so that I had it, you know, I would put it on and after about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you know, I had the solo loop on, which is the one that it comes with, you know, that it's on by default, the one you see in all the ads. Initially, I would put it on and after like 20 or 30 minutes, I would just start kind of like messing with it and readjusting it and loosening it and tightening it and repositioning it, all that kind of thing. And then on day 2, when I had it, and when I really like put it on and said, okay, I'm gonna wear this thing all day and work with it and see how it goes. Same thing, after about, you know, an hour, 45 minutes or an hour, I started getting uncomfortable with it and I decided to try the dual loop and I applied those and those are way more comfortable. They don't look as cool, obviously. I think that's, you know, I think it's obviously that Apple knows that the first one is comfortable, but they know that if they were going strictly for comfort and not style, they know they would have only released it with the dual loop straps. And that brings me to saying that another huge thing that Apple has also said a lot is that fit is everything with the product. It completely changes the experience, how you see things, you know, whether there's light leaks or no light leaks, whether it's comfortable or not comfortable. You know, if it's uncomfortable, it kind of takes you out of the experience and you want to take the thing off. If it's comfortable, you don't even realize you're wearing it. all like a hat, and you just wear it and you're immersed in whatever you're doing. So that's something that I would say definitely, if you get one, read the manual, play with the fit and all that sort of thing, because doing that, not only will everything look better through them, but you'll just have an overall better experience with them. So to answer that question, yes, I think they're comfortable, but you do have to practice putting them on and getting them fitted correctly. Okay, and so here's the big question now that a lot of people have is it worth the money? Is this thing worth $3,500 or more, you know, depending on, you know, which one you get? Right now, this is the way I'm thinking about it, okay? And I didn't think about this before I had it, and as I've owned it and have been using it, this is what I've started realizing it, because it did hurt to spend that much money on it, but I've started realizing it blows away any television you would ever buy. You can have a 75-inch, 4K, HDR, top-of-the-line television, and this thing will blow it away. Okay, so first of all, I can't think of a single television that would match this experience, but I would say you would easily have to start at $2,000 to find a TV that's somewhat close to matching this experience in any way whatsoever. And that's just for the TV. To match the audio experience, you would definitely have to drop another, you know, $1,000 on a surround sound system or something. So you know, now that I've experienced it, I'm realizing it's very likely that I will never care about buying a big HDR 4K TV ever again after owning these. You know, when I started doing the math of like, okay, what can this have the potential of replacing? And I've already thought of definitely a television, definitely a sort of surround sound kind of system, definitely computer monitors. And when you start doing the math, you very quickly get to what this thing costs and all these additional things that it does besides just watching movies and shows and that sort of thing. Right now, again, the big downside is that you're the only dummy wearing it by yourself and no one else is wearing one. But, you know, I think Apple will find a solution, and they probably already have a solution for that kind of situation where, you know, only a few people are wearing them and others aren't wearing them. And how do you bring all those people to share that same experience? You know, only time will tell. So, you know, my answer, is it worth the $3,500 for buying it? I am very glad that I bought them. For me, it was actually also a professional purchase. As a professional colorist, I want to, you know, make sure I have something like that so I can kind of, you know, stay on the cutting edge of technology. And I've gotten all these other bonuses and benefits from it that I didn't even think about or care about. My first impressions of this thing in the first 48 hours, it's definitely world changing. It's definitely amazing. It's definitely not if people are going to buy these and it's going to catch on, it's when are they going to buy them, because it's definitely, as you've also probably heard, it is kind of the future of computing, the future of, you know, consuming media. So once everyone starts buying these and the software updates start coming out and the, you know, the apps start coming out, I mean, I think we are looking at the future of computing and the future of entertainment and consuming media. If you watched this far, thank you. I know this is probably a long video. Any questions about it, ask me below. And again, like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all later.